Ayurveda refers to an extensive base of knowledge which represents India's traditional holistic medicine. It's impossible to separate Ayurveda from the context, the history of the land that it grew out of. However, as a sister science to yoga, Ayurveda is important, and that a few key concepts can change the way we approach our yoga practice. According to Ayurveda, each of us is made of a particular combination of the 5 elements. To understand our natural tendencies according to the elements helps to understand our strengths and weaknesses. If we have a lot of fire, called Pitta, our tendency is to move forward with passion, no caution for burning the candle at both ends. If earth and water are dominant, called Kapha, our tendency is to remain steadfast and calm, perhaps to the degree that we become physically or mentally stuck. And if we're predominantly air and space, called Vata, then our tendency is to move quickly and creatively with a heightened sense of vibration, perhaps to the detriment of complete follow-through or grounded action. Generally, we will be a combination of these doshas. So we might be called a Vata Pitta or a Kapha Vata, or sometimes we're called tridoshic if the elements show up evenly in our constitution. Our Ayurvedic constitution will determine strengths and weaknesses we have regarding our life force. And whatever brings the life force up, we want to encourage. And whatever brings the life force down, we want to discourage. And what is a good choice for one person is not the right choice for another person. Now, this is true of food choices and drinks and herbs and medicine, career choices, and of course, yoga choices. Because we're all different, the way that yoga is practiced will affect us differently. We all need different intent, different focus, different breath, different postures to bring us into balance each day. Ayurveda has helped me to understand that balance is not a fixed or a final state. Our body systems are always changing, they're interacting, they're being altered by nature. So balance really is being able to recognize the flow. As the seasons alter, so do we. As the stars and the moon and the sun have patterns, so do we. Our very nature is in flux. The key point is to notice when you're fighting your nature or stuck in a pattern. And then you want to change that flow. And we can do this with yoga. Dosha is a word that indicates our particular expression of the 5 elements in the body and in our personality. The elements should not be in combat, but give rise to each other, as in nature. We mustn't cling to any one state, but see that the opposites are a continuation of the whole. In Ayurvedic Yoga, we're using the postures, the breath, and the intent to realize this whole. In Ayurveda, a Pitta Constitution is predominantly fire. When in balance, a Pitta person is a wonderful force of nature, noble, fearless, unafraid to work. Think of the fiery people that you know. They don't stop until the job is done, and they still have energy to burn. Personalities that are full of humor and sharp-witted, quick minds. You can almost feel the sparks flying. A Pitta body is built for speed, compact and muscular, built to be active. Their complexion is ruddy and lustrous. When out of balance, you can see it right away in the skin, too red, and the eyes become too sharp. Pittas like to be dominant, and they're used to getting their way. So when out of balance, that looks like rage just underneath the surface. Fiercely stubborn, insensitive, blindly moving forward. You can see this in a Pitta body with the chest forward. It means that the back is going to be very tight, and in fact the whole body can become too tight, hypertoned, chronically contracted. No memory of release, to the detriment of other systems in the body. Problems may arise in the small intestine and manifest in headaches, irritation, inflammation, indigestion, problems with the skin, and more serious complaints as well. So what takes a Pitta out of balance? Not enough downtime, not enough quiet, just not enough time in nature. A Pitta may be so career-driven that he or she may have forgotten or maybe never really learned how to walk slowly by the river or just sit on the bank. They're the ones wanting to shoot the rapids. But this is serious. It's unhealthy not to know how to be quiet and calm. We need to set an example for our children and for each other. What type of yoga does a Pitta need? Well, Pittas love it hot. They want the fire. They like a challenge, and they like to compete. So fight fire with fire. Begin by burning off a bit of heat in the standing poses, but then slow down and challenge the mind, soothe the body. Bring the energy down. You'll notice in the Pitta practice on this DVD, we start standing and we do big movements. We move through the warriors to feel our strength. But once we get down onto the earth, we stay and do cooling poses, such as forward folds are cooling, gentle stretches, easy twists, breathing long, slow exhalations. Try the earth breathing practice. You can get the idea of how important it is to lengthen the exhalation. The dominant elements of Kapha are earth and water, just exactly what a Pitta needs more of. A Kapha nature is nicely described as salt of the earth or solid as a rock. They are known as elegant, sensual, loving, radiant beyond measure when in balance. A Kapha constitution is going to be strong and stable with a hearty immune system. The body type is bigger bones and rounder features with rich, dark hair and a moist complexion. When out of balance, earth and water in excess create havoc. A heavy lethargic energy can take over the whole system. One becomes stuck, congested, weighted down, even depressed. The seat of stagnation in Kapha is the stomach. Congestion can arise there or in the lungs and the nasal passageways with a buildup of phlegm. A Kapha out of balance carries too much weight in the body and in the mind. What creates imbalance in a Kapha? Too much sleep, not enough activity, not enough movement, improper breathing habits. The cold, sweet foods, like ice cream, not so good. Cold, wet weather, isolation, loss of family time, it's hard on a Kapha. What kind of practice does a Kapha need? They need fire. Bring it on. Poses that heat the body with a breath that's an even, steady pace, 1 to 1, inhale to exhale. Back bends and chest lifts are perfect for dispelling excess Kapha. They really build the heat, moving the energy up, called Udana. A Kapha can get stuck, so the energy needs to move out to the periphery as well, finding wind, air, and space. Try the Kapha practice I've made on this DVD, or the new Namaste 5-element practice called Fire Fan. You'll get standing poses, balances, dynamic breath in vigorous flows that build heat, confidence, and agility. According to Ayurveda, the dominant source of Vata's nature is air and space. Their bodies are mostly long-boned and lean. A Vata is swift and quick to change course. Vatas can be great artists with imagination, enthusiasm, and sensitivity. Their complexion light, and their hair is more fine. Ayurveda warns us that the nature of Vata easily moves towards imbalance, and sometimes they are the most difficult dosha to pacify. Vatas can be erratic, spaced out, and fearful. One sign of imbalance could be an underlying anxiousness regarding just about everything. Other signs are small tremors in the body and tightness around the shoulders and the neck. And in more extreme cases, there is pain in the muscles, the joints, and the skin, as well as bloating and gas. What creates imbalance in a Vata? There are many levels of imbalance. Vatas are sensitive to vibration and stimulation. The elements air and space are the elements of the heart and the throat chakras, which rule love and creativity. Wind, dry, cold weather, fast-moving cars, trains, planes, computers, television, all hard on a delicate Vata. What kind of yoga does a Vata need? Well, the Vata energy is this. So let's start by doing this. And you can feel that the opposite is within the whole. Vatas love to inhale, but it's so difficult to get them to really exhale all the air out in a long, slow, careful breath. Vatas are dry by nature, so Ujjayi breathing is perfect as it creates moisture. Vatas can be weak in the core, so using the bandhas on the exhale to strengthen is just right. In fact, maybe the most important practice for Vata is breathing. Try the water or earth breathing practice. And once you understand the breath, then you can try the Vata sequence. You'll see, rather than moving quickly up and down, creating wind, the movement is low to the ground like water, flowing and graceful, bringing the energy down to the earth with forward folds and pulling the energy in towards center in bound poses. This is how a Vata finds balance.